Coming up, volunteers kick off Tzu Chi celebration in Hualien, Taiwan. We get a further understanding of the self-sustaining Jing Si Abode and learn about its early days. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Lee-Shioda. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program with a look at Tzu Chi celebration of Mother's Day, Buddha Day, and Tzu Chi Day in Hualien, Taiwan. The ceremony kicked off the first of many more to come for the rest of the Tzu Chi volunteers from across the globe. The auspicious celebration that took place in Hualien was joined by volunteers from 15 different countries and nearly 2,600 Tzu Chi volunteers and members of the public, forming three patterns of concentric circle organization. Everyone offered their sincerest prayers to honor the Buddha.
虔诚一念，向佛陀献上衷心礼赞。
Master Zhenyan and the Dharma masters from the Jing Si Abode led members of the public to offer up their hearts in a prayer to honor the Buddha. Among the participants is Wu Taijun, the deputy director of Hualien's fire department. His life was saved by students at the Tzu Chi University when he passed out on the track from running.
Seeing everyone's heartfelt prayer, especially when they sang their prayers for the Buddha, it was very moving. I was singing along as well. The ceremony was quite heartwarming and grand. I quite enjoyed the activity.
In Hualien to seek treatment for his injuries, this is Haiti Tzu Chi volunteer Daniel George's first Buddha Day ceremony. Though he's still in recovery, Georges gave it his all.
I feel very blessed because it's a very great ceremony. You know, Master Zhenyan is doing a fantastic job for the world. She's bringing love, she's bringing peace to the world. I'm really grateful to Master Zhenyan.
In this half-past century since the establishment of Tzu Chi, volunteers have not strayed from the Bodhisattva path. Having participated in previous ceremonies, Hualien's Xinchen Town Mayor gets a different feeling each time he participates.
Tzu Chi leads us in purifying our hearts. On this tri-celebration of Tzu Chi Day, Buddha's Day, and Mother's Day, everyone is a future bodhisattva in the making.
After Hualien's ceremony, 35 countries from all over the globe will also hold their own celebration to honor the Buddha. It is estimated that over 400 ceremonies and 254,000 people will join the celebration. To conclude the Buddha Day ceremony, audience members run towards the master as a symbol of their determination to stay firm on the correct path. Staying in Hualien, among the participants at the Buddha Day ceremony were a few special guests from abroad, such as an international student from Japan who came to Taiwan to learn more about Tzu Chi. Also present was a Nepalese Timid doctor, Sarvesh Gyavali, who returned to Taiwan to especially express his heartfelt thanks to Tzu Chi. Offering up his prayers to honor the Buddha, Nepalese doctor Sarvesh Gyavali is participating in the Buddha Day ceremony here in Hualien. His relationship with Tzu Chi began as the volunteers and the foundation threw itself into the rebuilding of Nepal after the major earthquake in 2015.
Tzu Chi is there to stay in Nepal for a very, very long time, and it will work on spreading the message of Buddha's love and compassion to everybody and reintroduce Buddhism to Nepal. Also makes me feel very happy and very grateful to Master Sangren.
Another special guest is 22-year-old Sugiura Ikumasa, who came to Taiwan to learn Mandarin and to gain a further understanding of Tzu Chi. This is his first Buddha Day celebration, in which he also prays for all those still suffering in Kumamoto.
Tzu Chi's interpersonal relationship brings about a peaceful society. I am very moved by it. Tzu Chi's Buddha Day celebration isn't only honoring the Buddha's birthday, it's really honoring the Buddha that's within each person's heart. I'm very moved by this purification process.
在三节合一的日子
Here at Tzu Chi's Chai celebration at the Hualien Jing Si Hall, everyone offers up their sincerest prayers and hope to learn the Buddha's spirit of giving while being grateful for the grace of the Buddha, our parents, and all humanity. Besides the celebration in Taiwan, the volunteers in the Philippines have also held events to honor the Buddha, Tzu Chi, and all mothers. In total, there were 3 events in the Philippines, 1 large celebration in Marikina City and 2 other just as grand, but for the first time in Tacloban and Ormoc. Much rehearsal went on to ensure the success of the events. And in Marikina City, a moving story of a young girl's gift to her mother on this auspicious day could be found. Let's join the young girl at a recent rehearsal prior to the ceremony and find out why she decided to join the celebration. Instead of hanging out with friends, 19-year-old Andrea Padua is participating in a rehearsal for the Buddha Day ceremony taking place in Marikina City as her mother's stand-in.
My grandmother suggested that I take my mother's place in the Buddha Day ceremony because she can faint in this weather and no one will be available to help her should she faint. I agreed right away to take her place.
Andrea's mother, Priscilla, hit her head in a bad fall. Prone to fits of dizziness, Priscilla had to quit her job as a nanny. The family now makes rags for a living. Participating in Tzu Chi's Buddha Day ceremony was something Priscilla was quite looking forward to, but now she has to give that up as well.
I asked my daughter if she could take my place in the ceremony, but I was worried that she could not stand the extreme heat and faint because she's so young. I then said, if you can't go, I'll force myself to attend. But she has shouldered the task well. I'm glad I asked her.
Andrea is also doing this in loving memory of her foster mother, who recently passed away due to complications from a rabies infection. Instead of medical treatment, Andrea's foster mother wanted to save her money to pay for Andrea's tuition.
In the past 19 years, I have felt how much my second mother cared for me and how hard she tried to provide for my education.
Fulfilling her mother's wish and cultivating blessings for her second mother by participating in Tzu Chi's Buddha Day celebration, Andrea is grateful for she has twice the love in this world.
sa mama ko, ito na yung steps na gusto kong
Taking my mother's place in the ceremony, I hope I can spread the love my mother has for me to more people.
We begin the second part of our program with a look back at the humble beginnings of Tzu Chi. Today we'll take you to visit the Jing Si Abode in Hualien, Taiwan, the original birthplace of Tzu Chi over 50 years ago. We'll meet some of the Dharma masters living and working there and find out what makes the Jing Si Abode such a special place. It was here at this site 50 years ago that the organization and mission of Tzu Chi truly began. This is the Jing Si Abode where the Tzu Chi tradition was given life. As those at the abode laid out sutra books to prevent bookworms, this task is actually a form of cultivation. If you don't work for a day, you don't eat for a day.
One of the really unique aspects of the Jing Si Abode is that there are no donation boxes here. As a disciple of Master Jing Yan, we took up different tasks to make money to help maintain the abode. Would you like me to list them for you? The first was knitting sweaters. The second was 4 people working in a farm field. The third was making cement bags. The fourth was making toddler shoes. The fifth was making gloves. The 26th was clothing made for export. The 14th was making candles. The 15th was children's toys. From 1984 to 1986, we had many different jobs. The toys job lasted just 1 month. The 16th was making necklace. We did that for about 3 months and the job stopped. The 17th was making plastic flowers, which we'd had job orders for about 2 or 3 months. The 18th is growing chrysanthemums. We used to plant and sell them. The 26th was making instant rice. The 27th is making rice crackers. The 28th was making cocoa powder. The 29th was a vegetarian substitute for meat floss. And the 30th was dry cauliflower and burdock powder. And that completes the list of 30 different jobs we took on. For the past 50 years, Jing Si Abode has provided all of its basic necessities by producing these different products. The donations to the Tzu Chi Foundation don't actually get used by the Dharma Master here at the abode. As Master instructed, the Jing Si Abode is self-sustaining. When I first came to Jing Si Abode, the master said to me that in daily work, we cultivate ourselves. I remember once, I was bagging multi-grain powder, and every bag I would make, I was just thinking, is this what she meant? Is this really how I'm going to pass the rest of my days? I mean, really? Then I would very naturally start to chant Amitofo, Amitofo. Just like that, I'd say it once with every bag that I completed, and I would consider it a blessing for each person that would purchase the multi-grain powder. I would say it as a blessing for their good health and hope that they will enjoy their meals. In this way, the work became much more meaningful, and my heart was full of happiness to really be practicing the Dharma.
Here at the abode, there is work to be done every day. As autumn approaches, blankets are being ready for the changing seasons and cooler temperatures. The Dharma masters go about their work meticulously and diligently. Here, the pace of life seldom changes. While the hands are busy, the mind maintains a state of contemplation. Last winter at the abode's vegetable garden, a group of volunteers from several African countries made a visit to experience life at the abode.
Although it's just a simple act of pulling weeds, it's really much more. When you focus your heart and mind on a task, you can find deeper meaning in your actions. When you pull weeds from the earth, you also clean out the unnecessary thoughts and habits in your heart.
Here at the Jing Si Abode, everything is conserved and nothing is wasted. Every drop of water and every leaf has a place in the rhythm of life here. This has been part of the spirit of life here for the past 50 years. Examples of the spirit of conservation are the enzymes used in the kitchen and fertilizer used in the gardens, which are both produced locally at the abode.
For the first month, every day you should open it up and stir it around. Then for the next 2 months, you should leave it alone and let it ferment. Then in the 3rd month, before we can use it, the liquid needs to be filtered. Then we can gather it up to bottle it. And the thick layer of scum on the top will be used as fertilizer.
The enzymes produced at the abode is just one way that a respect for nature is being cultivated here at the Jing Si Abode. At the Jing Si Abode, as the seasons have changed and the months turned into years, the spirit of Tzu Chi has grown and strengthened, just as Master Jinyan hoped it would. In Tzu Chi's history, sign language was first combined with Buddhist sutras in the creation of a musical adaptation of the 37 practices to enlightenment. 15 years ago, musician Guo Mongyong turned Master Cheng Yen's lectures on the 37 practices to enlightenment into a 24-minute song. Since then, its musical adaptation has been performed at various Tzu Chi events. In our Tzu Chi's 50th anniversary special report today, we take a look at how this musical adaptation has touched the hearts of countless people.
麻烦你唱的时候稍微有一点点力度啊，你看吧哈。好。要力度哈，要稍微。众生无边，是缘度。上面又讲说。
The Master said, by asking you to write Buddhist sutra songs, I hope to remind you of the initial aspiration you had more than 20 years ago.
好。然后再一次了哦，再一次哦，那个能不能把那个更好的拿进来了？再一次了哈。
The song The Four Great Vows, which describes the vows of cultivators, is musician Guo Mongyong's work from 2015. Having created more than 300 Tzu Chi songs, he received the master's guidance on every one of them, especially the 37 practices to enlightenment.
37道品的时候，你说。上人就说，现在是要开始写经典了。
Back then, the master said that it was time to create works about Buddhist sutras. So I finished reading the 37 practices to enlightenment and tried to find excerpts of Master Cheng Yen's explanations of the sutra.
讲义里头的这些所写的法语。
Then Guo modified his work for 11 times before it was finalized.
反正那革命要10次的，你第11次就成功，就是一样的道理。
The revolution failed for 10 times before it succeeded, so she was strengthening my patience and perseverance. I hope that after this training, I will develop a unique perspective on religious art.
The 37 practices to enlightenment points out cultivation principles for Buddhist practitioners. 15 years ago, Guo recomposed the music, which was played along with sign language performance, presenting a new version of an ancient Indian Buddhist musical.
演绎其实在唐代已经出现了，唐代的。
Sutra adaptations actually appeared in the Tang Dynasty. People presented Buddhist sutra text in a way that everyone could understand, like a musical. It is an artistic way of spreading the Dharma.
音乐剧这样，它可能就是一个从艺术弘法的一个切入。
Dharma can be passed on in an artistic form. Even now, the musical adaptation of the 37 practices to enlightenment can still be seen at Tzu Chi events.
The master said that we should not just worship the Bodhisattvas. Instead, we should learn from their spirit. We should put our love into action, create no evil, cultivate all good, and purify the mind. These are the teachings of the Buddha.
Among the audience, Sun Shuliang, who's deaf, can also take the Dharma teachings to heart.
因为修养好的话，就不
With the proper attitude, we can help others and walk on the correct path.
正道行走。
With the invitation of volunteers, Sun joined Tzu Chi. Then he thought about the meaning behind combat and switched to practicing martial technique sequences. His eagerness to win turned into training for perseverance.
这个对打，好像会那个。
In combat, we hurt our opponents, so I gave up on combat and worked on martial technique sequences with a calmer mind.
改为平视，比较平心静气。
Martial technique sequences are harder than combat because your moves need to be beautiful. Not only do you need to work on speed and strength, your moves must be beautiful.
With a different mindset, he has chosen a different and more challenging path. The sutras are a path, a road that leads us back to our hearts. While composers work to bring Buddhist sutras to the public, on-stage volunteers also present musical adaptations of the sutras. Buddhist music has paved a path for all Buddhist practitioners to continue cultivating and learning.
In Malaysia, there's a young care recipient named Lalitha who suffers from the autoimmune disorder of lupus, which makes her skin incredibly dry and her limbs sore, making it difficult for her to live an ordinary life. Further is that she is also raising 3 daughters, a teenager and 2 young children. Lalitha also often feels helpless as a mother who is deeply worried about her family as well as her own condition. After Tzu Chi heard of her situation from the local hospital, volunteers started making visits to help ease this young mother's suffering.
In Malaysia this year, at Tzu Chi Scholarship Award ceremony, these 2 young girls received special attention because of the difficult situation their family faces. This is the home of Tzu Chi care recipient Lalitha. Her brother, Satheswaram, is currently taking care of the children and peeling onions for a local restaurant.
In one day, I do about 10 batches this size. Might do 10 or 20 large batches. One batch weighs about 15 kilograms. So yeah, in a single day, I might do 300 kilograms of onions.
Lalitha is 35 years old and is the mother of 3 children. Because she suffers from lupus, her body is covered in dry, painful sores. Not only was she forced to leave her job, but her husband has also abandoned the family. Now she must rely on the help of her mother and brother to help raise her family.
Saya memang bayar buku susah sekali lah.
There's really no way for me to provide school fees for my children. Every year we are short, but this year I am quite relieved thanks to your help. This year we'll be able to pay in full. Before, I was never able to buy the books my daughters needed for their tests. I always relied on my mother. If I go a single day without my medicine, I won't be able to get out of bed and my hands will be too weak to move. I can't do anything in that state. The most severe aspect is that she isn't even able to walk. The condition is the same for her whole body, down to her hands. You can see the red inflamed skin everywhere. Just a glance and you can imagine how painful it must be.
In addition to looking after the education of her children by providing 2 scholarships, the volunteers also brought Lalitha natural soap and toner made by Dharma Master of the Jing Si Abode.
Before, my entire body was dry and black. But after I began using the soap, my skin feels more moisturized. The toner is great as well. After I spread it on, it feels cool and very comfortable on my skin. Thankfully, I found something that is suitable for my skin.
As Lalitha's skin condition has begun to improve, her spirits have also been lifted, which is great encouragement to volunteers.
Finally, at the end of the program, we joined the various Tzu Chi celebrations that took place across Taiwan, starting in Taichung at the Taichung Tzu Chi Hospital and also at the new Taichung Jing Si Hall. We then head southbound to Changhua and Kaohsiung's celebrations. We will let you enjoy these images of all offering their prayers for the Buddha. Thank you for joining us here at DaAi Headlines. See you next time.